Hello, this is Karen Sunt with Talking the Five, and we're at Dirtwater Springs in Apache Junction, Arizona. And I am with Scott and Kara Pryor, and they're running for Senate and House Representative. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, tell us about yourself. This is unusual, a married couple running for Senate and House. I just haven't heard of this before.
Well, it's just one of those things. I mean, we both work together. We have been for a very long time. And when I was running for office in 2012, she was doing all the legwork anyway. So, you know, it kind of led to the idea that if we're going to both do the work, we might as well both benefit from the work. And so she ran as a write-in in 2012. Of course, that didn't really work out real well. Neither one of us won. But we decided to go ahead and give it a shot again, and both of us went the full route this time, garnered the required signatures, and both made it to the ballot.
That's pretty awesome. And so, I mean, tell us about why you're running for the House.
Well, wanting to do my part. I hate to say that nobody else seemed like they wanted to roll up their sleeves and kind of jump in, and I'm like, well, I'm not a politician, but you know what, I've kind of got things that are kind of bothering me, and there's stuff at the legislature that I'm not really too happy about. And I may not be the perfect person, I may not be the best candidate, but you know what? I am a hard worker, I am a fast learner, and I listen to people, and I think that's what we're lacking.
Well, I would think that would make a good candidate, wouldn't you?
Well, one would think. but thank you for that. But a lot of people seem to think that even though the certain things that you have may be part of the problem, that you're going to be able to manage change with. You can't change the legislature if you've still got the same people or maybe the same type, the same attitude going on in there. You just can't change that. The only way you can change that is to just throw a couple of new people in there.
Well, I know what you're getting to, the career politician, and I think we're all kind of tired of that. We want to see some fresh faces, and it is about service, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely about service. These people, hopefully I will be elected, but the people that are elected are supposed to be going to the Capitol and serving the people of their communities. And what we have is we have a lot of legislators that go to the Capitol that refuse to communicate with their constituents. They refuse to talk to their constituents. They refuse to listen to their constituents when they have an issue that they want to have handled. And that's what we want to do. We want to change that plan so that instead of going to the Capitol and doing what we want to go to the Capitol so we can do what our constituents want, because that's who we'll be working for.
All of them.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what political party or anything. I mean, everybody that lives in District 16 is who we have to represent. So we have to be adult enough to talk to Republicans, Democrats, Independents, Libertarians, Anarchists, and anybody else that lives in a district, because that's who we serve.
Well, and that's very honorable, and I really appreciate you saying that. And with taking that step, what kind of issues are you wanting to attack in the Senate and House?
Well, my big pet peeve one is going to probably be ethics or lack thereof of our elected officials. We have too many politicians at all levels that are taking gifts and stuff like that. I would call them bribes, but you know, we'll call them gifts for you know, the purpose at this point. That are taking these gifts and voting not for the people and to help the people, but they follow and they vote for organizations and corporations and companies that give them money to refund their or to fund their re-elections, and that's something I think that we need to completely ban out and make it so that politician goes and serves the people and they get their whatever their salary is, and that's it. They don't take gifts. Of course, education is very high on the list, and water conservation, we're going to have to go farther than water conservation, because conservation may give us a couple more years, but it's not going to fix the problem. So we've got to come up with plans, and I do have plans on how to fix that problem. And then equality. I mean, we're all people, and we should all be treated the same with the same dignity, regardless of our religious background, our ethnicity, or whether we're same-sex type or you know, opposite sex type, any of those. We should all still be treated the same. We should have the same dignity and the same rights, without question.
And what do you have to say on that?
Well, not on that, but to kind of backpedal a little bit to the first point that Scott was saying, I would like to see the legislature be transparent. If you've got a bunch of funds and you're discussing about the budget, where this money's going to go, we need to know first off, how much money there is, how much is getting spent. I think we just basically need to just overhaul. We need to know everything that's going on there. No more closed room sessions. No more let's go out to dinner and, oh, here, let me slip you a check under the table. No. And I'm not saying that's what's happened, but that's just kind of the impression that I've given, that there's a lot of stuff that they're not wanting. If you're for the people, you need to be for everybody, and we need to know what you know. We should actually help you. We should actually be the ones that you're getting some of the information from, because we are the ones in the trenches.
Well, wow, that's kind of a big, heavy subject, but I appreciate you tackling it. No one's ever tackled that subject yet. Mostly it's been about immigration, which is a big one, and schools, of course, and then also small business. And here in Pinal County, I know we need some help with small business. What's your thoughts on all that?
Well, even just driving through Apache Junction, I mean, look at all the mini malls and different business complexes we have that are vacant. Smaller businesses have basically been driven out by the large corporations. We had a store when we first moved here named Bosch's on the corner, and it was a nice little family market. And then Fry's came in and Walmart came in, and now Bosch's is gone because the big corporates, they can offer better prices because they can order their products in larger bulk. So it's really hard for small businesses to compete with that. So we need to find ways to protect the small businesses from being run out of business, because small businesses are community-driven as opposed to profit-driven like Walmart and Fry's. So we need to find the right people to come up with the right plan to encourage and protect small businesses, whether it be tax breaks, better prices for their items. If they can get stuff at cheaper locally, then that would be great. Maybe work with some of the local co-ops and stuff for fresh produce. There's a lot of ways that we can do this, and we just need to concentrate on finding the right ways and then get it implemented.
Also, I think I heard you talk about earlier about infrastructure. What was your thought on that?
Well, anybody that's driven on the trail, especially on a motorcycle, understands that it is just bumpy from one end to the other. Infrastructure is the lifeblood for interstate and intrastate commerce. If our infrastructure fails, and I'm not just talking about roads either, well, we're talking about the canals that bring water over from the Colorado River. Any kind of infrastructure that supports the people of the state. We need to make sure that all of that is actually in good repair, because if not, we can lose business, number one, because people are not going to want to drive through Arizona because of the roads, and number two, it brings more business to Arizona because they feel that the infrastructure is solid. So one of the things we could do is let's put some more bus service out in our neck of the woods, because I think the buses stop at maybe Power Road, so we don't really have any kind of public transportation out in D16 past Mesa. That kind of infrastructure would allow people to get to and from their jobs without having to be on the road all the time in a vehicle. It would help a lot with the people. So we need to concentrate on that kind of stuff too.
Now, at the house, what kind of things do you see you might be dealing with?
Well, I mean, ethics is a huge thing, and like I said earlier, the budget, I think if we dive into the budget, then all the other, it's kind of like the domino effect. Then we know how much money we can put toward education and how much money we're spending toward this, that, and the other. We can actually reallocate it. And accountability, I'm all for it. Legislators need to be accountable. They need to tell us not only why they voted a certain way or what they voted for, but why. Don't just say, well, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, oh, I voted this way. We really want to know, because it's not their game. It's all of us involved. So if we're telling them one thing and the majority of us are screaming the same thing and they're kind of doing the direct opposite, that's not what I would consider somebody speaking on my behalf.
Yeah, well, and I think a lot of people feel that way about the schools, and I know I have my son in a private school. Tell me a little bit about how you're feeling about the school systems.
Well, I think that there's been a concentrated effort, and you can tell by who is voting for what types of legislation whether or not they have ties with the charter school movement in Arizona. I have no problem with charter or private school as long as they're fiscally transparent, The problem we have with charter schools right now is that there's no accountability to the taxpayers, and that's where our money's going. I think that charter schools and private schools should be nonprofit. I don't think that people should be making a profit off of taxpayer money. When that's their main goal is to make a profit, then the education of their students is going to be second. Whereas with public schools, that's their primary goal, is education. So if private schools want taxpayer money, I think they should have the same curriculum, the same higher requirements, the same fiscal responsibility and transparency to the taxpayers, and then that's fine. But at this point in time, I think we need an overhaul, because we're just funneling taxpayer money into people's pockets, and we're not seeing where that's going. So, and that goes into the ethics too. A lot of these people at the legislators are part of the charter school movement. So I have a problem with people who are making laws that pads their pockets, and that's what we're seeing at this point in time in the legislature.
Well, wow, that was very deep and very precise, and I appreciate that, because I don't think anyone's really gone that deep yet, especially with the ethics. I would like to know how, as a couple, do you think that would strengthen you being a couple in down there at the Capitol? How that might strengthen your representation here with District 16?
I actually think it would strengthen it, and it would show people that, oh my God, this is a regular couple. They get up to an alarm clock, drive to another town to go to work. You know, they spend all their time in the car, on the road, on the campaign trail. So if they can do that without us in mind, then when it comes to the time of thinking about our families, they're going to think about it as a family, because that's what we do. Yes, we understand. Yes, we understand what it's like to, you know, lose a job or to have to move, or we understand, you know, we're just regular people. So maybe if people see that instead of, oh, well, you know, I appreciate, no, you don't.
What would you say? I mean, someone might think it might be a conflict of interest to have a couple working on one side of the Senate and one of the House. What would you say to them?
Well, it wouldn't be a conflict of interest, because first of all, she would be working on House bills and I would be working on Senate bills, and they don't always coincide with each other. Second of all, I mean, doesn't it kind of give a better aspect for people if you have, when she's working in the House, she's going to, you know, of course, have information about what bills she's working on, whereas I'm going to have information on the bills that I'm working on, and we can actually, you know, both work together to make sure, you know, she may have ideas I don't, so if I'm stuck, she may be able to help me, and vice versa. I think it would actually make a powerful message that average people, even a married couple, can be elected and actually do some good for everybody. Not just themselves, and I think that's an important message to get across.
Well, I appreciate that, because, you know, there has been people thinking that there's less emphasis on family, and you're basically saying even family can be in legislation.
Yeah, and you know, we're not competing against each other. It's not like we're both running for the Senate, because then, you know, then it would be an issue. But if we work together to try to enjoy our life at home and to try to have a better life at home, then it's obvious to voters, I would think, that we actually do care about issues that a normal family would have to deal with. Making sure that you can pay your rent, that you have enough money to where you can send your kids to school, so that you can have a little bit of money maybe every once in a while to go to the movies. I mean, just the basics of necessities of life. I mean, you have to have those things. You have to have food, water, shelter, and you have to have some sort of release, whether it be going to a movie, going roller skating, going out hiking, anything like that. And that's what most families really, really want. They're not interested in the big picture of, okay, the whole status of the state. They care and focus more on their little piece of it, and that's where we want to put our focus.
Well, I really appreciate that. I think we covered quite a bit here, and I really appreciate you talking with me. And during the heat out here, yeah, we're out mountain, we're like dripping on sweat out here. It's, you know, I don't know, 100 degrees or something. I don't know what it is, but I really appreciate you talking with me. And I have opened it up for Democrats and Republicans to talk to, and so I appreciate you talking with me very much.
And we enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
And thank you for opening it up to everybody.
Yeah, well, that's if they want to talk to me, you know.
Well, I don't know.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the general turns out for everybody. And thank you very much, and good luck to you.
Thank you.